Hello and welcome to this Personnel Today webinar in association with Talentia. The past 2 years have changed so much about the workplace, but what has been the impact on talent management? As people split their time between the workplace and their homes, it can become harder to measure certain aspects of performance, and managers can struggle to spot the true potential in an individual. Different personalities have adapted to remote working in distinct ways, and this can sometimes mask their behavior and disguise their abilities. So what can HR teams do to ensure that hybrid working doesn't get in the way of talent management? And how can technology help to identify talent in this new way of working? Okay, I'm Rob Moss. I'm editor of Personnel Today, and today's webinar has a distinctly European feel to it. I'm joined this afternoon by two guest speakers who you can see alongside me, both of whom are joining us from Italy, Fabio Cardilli from Talentia and Claudia Pareto from the fintech firm Mooney. Could I just ask you to introduce yourselves, Fabio?
Hello, everybody. My name is Fabio Cardilli. I am product manager in Talentia, focusing the HCM offering, and I am in charge of the product roadmap. Thanks for attending.
Thanks, Fabio. Hi, Claudia.
Hello, and thank you for being here for inviting me. I am Claudia Porretto, and I'm People Development and Engagement Manager in Mooney. I've got 10 years of experience in the HR field, and now I follow people in their development and engagement path in the company.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's give a brief overview of what we're going to be doing over the next hour. In a moment, I'm going to give you an idea of the prevalence of hybrid working and the makeup of hybrid workforces. Then Fabio is going to explain how technology can help manage your talent. And after that, I've got some questions to ask Claudia about managing hybrid working and how technology is helping at Mooney. And then finally, I will relay some of your questions from the audience. So please submit those, any questions, any comments at any point over the next hour. You can send those in the questions tab on the right-hand side of your screen. A few logistics: you will receive an email from us straight after the webinar, and that will have a link to the slide deck, so no need to make loads of notes. There will also be a link to a recording of today's session, and there will also be the opportunity to provide us with some feedback. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about the market and how things are changing. So this first slide, I'm going to start with a poll. I do apologize. I'm going to start with a poll because I want to see how you, the audience, are set up in terms of your hybrid working. So there's a question in the poll tab on the right-hand side. Where are the majority of your staff currently working? And there's 5 options, ranging from at the top, full-time in the workplace, and to the bottom, full-time remote working. And you'll see that the 3 in between are various stages in between. So full-time in the workplace, mostly in the workplace with some remote working, an equal mix of workplace and remote working, mostly remote working, and full-time remote working. So I can see that a lot of you are voting already, which is great. And it looks like, okay, we've got a fairly even split between 3. So I'm going to start by saying the full-time remote working and the full-time in the workplace have basically got almost 0 results. 36% of you have shared that there's an equal mix of workplace and remote working. 35, almost the same number, are saying mostly remote working, and 27% are saying mostly in the workplace with some remote working. So thank you for participating in that poll. Let's have a look at what the picture looks like wider. So this is a survey that PwC did, and it's a global survey of 52,000 workers, so across 44 countries. So it gives us a really good idea. So you'll see that the proportion, sorry, this is what employees are expecting. this is what employees are expecting in their current jobs over the next 12 months. And most of them would prefer, so the top one, full-time in-person working, there's about 18% suggesting that, but you'll see the pink line beneath that is that's how they feel that their employer will likely expect them to work. So you can see that gap between the two. If we look at the equal mix, the gap's quite a lot less there. So 25% of employees would prefer to work an equal mix of in-person and remote working, and most of those also expect their employers to allow them to do that. In terms of full-time remote working, so the extreme, 26% would like to do that, but they acknowledge around 18% would expect that their employer would like them to do that. So that's a global survey. This next slide is also global, and this gives you an idea of how things, this doesn't look at whether or not people are working remotely, it's looking at travel. And the data comes from Google. They basically track data around how much people are moving around. And this, I think this poll, this data comes from a Thursday in May 2022 and compares it to February 2020. So the weeks before the pandemic really got going. And you can see there's quite a lot of difference. So the UK is at the bottom. It's actually traveling quite significantly less than it used to. So people in the UK, around 22% less travel. This is all forms of travel, whether it's car or train or walking. This gives you an idea of people's commute, but you can see at the top there, Greece and the Czech Republic, very little difference. And Italy is also, it's around, looks like about 6% less travel to work. So I think that's quite an interesting slide. And now these next slides are going to look at UK statistics, but I imagine that that these might be mirrored elsewhere. So looking at the likelihood of working in a hybrid way by salary. So essentially this shows you that the more you earn, the more likely it is that you're able to work in a hybrid way. It's not a direct comparison, but you can see that there's quite a distinct difference there between higher earners and lower earners. And this slide looks at age, and you can see that actually the youngest people in the workforce and the oldest people in the workforce are quite similar in terms of how much they're working in a hybrid way. But the group in between, age 30 to 49, they're the people who are most likely to be working in a hybrid way. So this is statistics from the UK government, from the Office for National Statistics, at the end of April, beginning of May. And if we just look at the perceived benefits that employees are giving when working from home, and they range, clearly the biggest one is, it's not too surprising, but the improved work-life balance, but then there's some quite practical ones around their day-to-day tasks with fewer distractions and being able to complete work quicker. And then some of the lesser benefits include things like more job opportunities, easier to think of new ideas, and a few people saying that there are no advantages there. So that's a UK survey. And this one gives you an idea of industry. So clearly we all appreciate that there are some industries where it's going to be far easier to work from home. Obviously, as a journalist myself, I'm working from home a lot, but in other industries that's going to be much harder. But still, you can see here that there's still an element of home working as part of a permanent business model across all sectors, really, to some degree. So the pink area on the right, that's people who are saying yes to the question of whether or not they're using or planning to use increased home working as a permanent business model. The blue area is they're saying no, and the turquoise area, they're saying that they're not sure. But you can see there that it is happening across industry sectors, not too surprisingly, in some more than others. Okay, that completes my sort of introduction to the topic, and now I'm going to hand over to Fabio, who's going to look at how technology can help.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, thanks, Rob. Quite interesting figures you shared. This session we will see how technology can support, can favorite this transition towards the future of work, which seems to be more a kind of hybrid kind of workforce. Before doing that, let me spend a few words about who Talentia is and what is our mission in the market. Talentia Software is an independent software vendor, which is headquartered in Paris and broadly distributed with several offices in Europe, operating either directly or through a network of partners and distributors. We have 3,600 more or less customers in Europe, targeting all industries. And we have also some presence in North America and South America as well. We are 430 employees, reinvesting 15% of our revenues in research and development, which has been in this specific period, post-pandemic period, particularly meaningful for us, experiencing ourselves as a company the impact of pandemic and finding in our tool new solutions, new pattern to support organization like ours through this digitalization. What is our offering? Our offering is an integrated suite, which is named Talentia HCM, to cover the employee life cycle from hire to retire. And so to accelerate this process to full digitalize employees' experience, particularly with this new DNA of modern organization, becoming more hybrid and less dependent from the physical place. Being one solution, as Talentia HCM ensures also a lower total cost of ownership, and so would facilitate, would make it shorter, this digital transformation. We offer several areas, several bundles, including a talent acquisition bundle to manage the recruitment process, a people and organization bundle to manage human resource administration, organization, teams, etc. We have a big area around the training and development, the performance and continuous feedback to manage goals alignment, assessment, and also continuous and informal feedback in between people, a career and development bundle to manage promotions, internal mobility, career path, succession plans, and then finally a reward to manage the retention of talent. Let's now focus on the purpose of this meeting, which is how supporting with technology hybrid workforce. So one of the certainly of the keywords is the digitalization, and I would say even more the simplification. Being the physical place and not anymore, I would say, a stable asset, it's very important to accelerate the full HR process digitalization. Being most of the employees spending a significant part of their time from home, for example. Some example, one is represented by classical absence booking, where an employee can use the portal and launch a request for booking an absence, submitting this request to the manager, who will receive this request in to-do, receiving also a notification by email to approve the request. It's very, very simple, but it has to be simple, specifically in this new era. But it's not, of course, all about simple workflow like absence management. We digitalize HR processes in different areas, so providing a full digitalized employee experience. Another example is the hiring process, that we can fully digitalize from the screening to the interview up to the contract proposal with a digital signature. We also offer annual reviews, so the possibility to digitalize assessment that can be skills assessment, goal setting, behavioral assessment, potential assessment. And above all, what we offer, which is also particularly important when speaking about hybrid workforce, is giving tools to HR, but not only to the HR, but also to the leaders, so to the managers of the organization, to control and monitor all the results coming from these processes being digitalized with the same platform as Talentia HCM pretends to be. A recent study from Gartner states what are the priorities for non-IT staff, so non-technical people, what are the expectations for these non-technical people of expected benefits from analytic in the opportunity to improve the quality of work or the quality of the service being provided, to improve the quality of the decision making, which is also very important for managers to gather all the insights from analytics which are necessary to take the proper decision. And of course, last but not the least, standardize business processes. So digitalization is one of the keywords the technology can work with to support this transition. Another keyword I would say is the people empowerment, and this is a lesson that we have learned, all of us probably during the pandemic. We have learned that one of the keywords that will continue to be a keyword also when speaking about hybrid workforce is to leave people to grow with initiative, to be more independent, to be more autonomous, to be more empowered. A typical case is constituted by the bottom-up learning. Now, this is once again a lesson that we learned. Employees would not be said to take a course, but would rather search a course by themselves across an academy, a portal of courses that would even profile the most recommended courses based on the skill profile, on the competency profile, on the goals that they have to achieve. So modern LMS become now a tool for employees even to promote themselves in other roles, even to upskill themselves in other areas in order to move forward in career. Another key aspect when speaking about the future of work, and this is probably the most challenging the technology have to deal with, is the people engagement. So the connection between the culture and the values of the organization with people. And now it's even more important than ever, being people working predominantly or a significant part of their time far from the office. And people engagement needs to start from the beginning. We offer, for example, a rich onboarding solution, targeting this idea to tailor the employee journey, real employee journey, employee experience, depending on the job that they would cover, depending on the seniority that they would have. You are looking at the portal, which is one of the possible portals that a new starter can access for the first 20 days, I would say, of the life in company, and can complete some task that can be pure HR administration task, like changing family details or sharing feedback with the manager, with the coach, with the supervisor, using a form like this that can be a questionnaire in order to provide some feedback to improve somehow the process, which is once again related to the engagement, the motivation of people since the first few days of their life in the company. When speaking about the engagement, also having them collaborate more through the portal, using an integrated social and collaboration platform, and work together on initiatives or gamified initiatives, like could be a contest where all of them can provide some ideas, recommendations, suggestion about how to improve a process or to be effective during a show, for example. And people in the community can join this conversation, can post comments, and rewards can be given depending on the most innovative ideas being posted and provided. When it comes to engagement, we cannot forget the importance of feedback. And above all, the benefit of people completing a survey like this to feel really contributors in the organization, to feel contributor, to give feedback in order to improve procedure, processes, and that's very important when it comes to engagement, and try to really keep connected and always connected people with culture, people with values, regardless where they work from. And digitalizing the concept of continuous feedback, digitalizing the concept of survey is one of the keywords that we think would be very relevant to propose to our customers. The last point that I would like to discuss with you is more a reflection on one of the slides that Rob was presenting about the multi-generational distribution. A modern organization have workforce distributed on different age range, and all of these ages have different sensitivity in respect to processes, in respect to user experience, in respect to the perception of being easy to do, easy to use. So software and technology need to talk possibly to different generation, and why not also consumerize the user experience, so proposing patterns of user interaction that are derived from the consumer world, which is very common among Z generation. We are working strongly on this by developing apps, multi-channel apps that would work on any device and on different channels, including I would say consumer channels like WhatsApp. This is an example of an employee notifying through WhatsApp and the chatbot that he is sick, and as a consequence, a request of sickness will be automatically sent over to the system and registered, and all the other actors informed. That was my last slide. I hope I gave you some inspiration, and Rob, I think I can give you the control.
I do apologize. It was me that was on mute. That was what was going wrong. Claudia, I was just asking you if you could describe a little more about what Mooney does.
Yes, of course, Rob, thank you. Mooney is the first company to offer in Italy proximity banking and payment solution. It was born in December 2019 with an agreement between two big Italian groups, Sisalpay and Banca Cinque Intesa San Paolo. And for the partnership between those two companies, we have the responsibility to basically be able to enable our customer to do digital payment. We have a lot of point of sales, and in addition, we have a very, very modern digital platform. And also, thanks to our continuous investment in technology and innovation, we grant millions of people a digital experience that is a merge between a physical experience and a digital one in payment. Because in Italy, we have both cash and cashless. So we guarantee our customers that they can use both and choose what they use. And in HR too, in Mooney, we want to our people have a digital experience, though they have the possibility to work in a physical workplace or in a digital one, and they can choose what is best for them.
Thank you. Okay, sounds really interesting. And certainly over the course of the pandemic, we've all changed the way that we use money, certainly in the UK as well. Claudia, could you describe a little bit about what your main HR challenges are at Mooney?
Yes, of course. After the lockdown and in this moment too, our main big challenge is a culture challenge, because we are switching from a present-based work model, we were in present in the office every day, to an hybrid model. Some day we are in office, some day we are wherever. And I know that many companies are facing and are struggling with the same challenge, but our peculiarity is that we were born in 2019, so just before the pandemic, and we have a lot of people that never saw each other in person, that they have never the possibility to meet them. So this is more an element in addition to our main challenge. And in particular, during those 2 years, we had two main focus to answer to this challenge: how to measure performance during the hybrid work, so our manager can evaluate the job of their collaborator, and in addition, also how to engage people during the hybrid work, when people are not in the office and they cannot go for lunch or for a coffee together.
And so what are you doing as an HR function to try and help your employees work in this hybrid way?
Yes, we worked a lot on culture because basically we set guidelines and rule how many times per week can you be in office and how many times per week you are not in the office but in another location, and also working hours, of course, administrative peculiarity and so on and so on. We also set best practices, a sort of hybrid work and etiquette, and we also did it in a funny way because we set those infographic on 4 main topics. We had Plan Like a Rolling Stone, we had Meeting Ninja, we had Call Me Maybe on the tools, and we also keep calm and work-life balance. So please just not put a meeting on 7 p.m. and do it from 9 p.m. to 6 p.m. So we use those tools, but also we trained a lot of people using digital solutions like Talentia. And in particular, we developed 2 e-learning paths, one for managers and one for individual contributor, and we developed them in podcast, so people do not have to stay in front of the laptop just to join the training. They can have their iPhone and go out with the dog or for a run or just enjoy their sofa, and they can do the training on the remote working and hybrid working.
Okay, and so what made you decide to go with a talent management solution?
Because we needed an integrated system to run processes like, for example, performance management and learning, as I told, and we needed just one solution to do everything, just one portal to say our people, hello, we are HR, we are here for you, and these are the tools that you can use. Because in the past, we had different websites and people were really lost and they didn't use them. So we wanted just one integrated solution. And in addition, we also really need an HRIS because we want to measure our KPIs and also do some HR analytics.
Okay. And so I gather you're using Talentia. So what benefits have you found from using the Talentia product?
First of all, Talentia is an integrated solution and it's full of possibilities. So it was the answer to have just one portal with everything inside. Also from a consultancy perspective, Talentia people speak HR languages. So it's easy as an HR to translate where they help the HR need into IS solution that are really technical, and HR people not often speak that language, but Talentia speak both. So it's easier. And in addition, we were able to measure, for example, performance management KPIs. And this year we had the 90% of completion rate of performance management, which it's an excellent output. And we also create engagement work remotely on the soft skill because we have a huge learning catalog and people, we have 80 e-learning on soft skills, and people can just pick the one that is best for them. That's the solution that Fabio was also talking about, the bottom-up learning model. I'm not telling you what you have to learn, but you choose what you need.
So, but do you find with that sort of approach that there are some people who don't want to participate in that learning? Do you not need to nudge them?
Yes, yeah. Of course.
Okay, good. So what's next? What have you got planned for the company and your approach next?
For sure, we will work a lot on the multi-generational case because we have 4 generations in the company, so we are already working on it, but we continue to work. And also to the continuous feedback culture. We will work a lot to transform the performance management from an appraisal that people are doing once a year to a continuous feedback model. So
Okay.
it's not a surprise what is happening once a year, because you already know, you speak with your manager, and so you already have a lot of feedback.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for some of those insights. We're now going to turn to some questions from our audience. So please do send those in to ask Fabio or Claudia any questions around this topic. First of all, I'm going to just share with you our second poll. And the question on this one is, do you use a dedicated solution to manage talent and hybrid work? And you should see that on your poll tab now. And the options are yes, we have for a long time. Yes, we started during the pandemic. No, but we plan to, or no, we don't. So please do submit your votes in that poll. Just see how many of you are voting. Thanks for those of you who are sharing your thoughts there. So we've got quite a few people who aren't using a dedicated solution, around 50%, and then another 20% saying that they plan to. Only 10% have said that they have been using one for a long time, and 17% are saying that they started over the last couple of years during the COVID pandemic. Okay, a few questions have come in. I've got one from Graham, who asks if you have any tips in helping line managers. I suppose this kind of relates to some of the issues of remote working and how managers have adapted to that over the last couple of years. Claudia, can you share any thoughts on what you do to try and help line managers?
Yes, of course. My tip is to coach a lot as HR line managers, and also to be familiar with HR analytics and to show facts and figures to help them to address the solution also with concrete data that as HR we can manage and we can share.
Okay, and Susie has asked if you have any issues with people who don't want to work remotely. Can you still cater for those in terms of the space in the office?
Yes, of course. We have some people that, really few people that cannot work remotely because of house issues or so on, or they just simply do not like to work remotely and they want to be in office, and we set space for them to allow them to come in office, of course, if they want to.
Okay. Got a good question here from Cecilia, who asks, how do you ensure managers develop all talent and not just those visible in the office in a hybrid model? And any recommendations there, Claudia?
Okay, yes, it's a really key point because it's a challenge that we are facing too. Sometimes people that are visible in office are there is the perception that they are doing more than ones that are working remotely. And exactly for this reason, I talked about continuous feedback, because, for example, Talentia is offering a continuous feedback solution, and in that in that way you can also track positive feedback, for example, and then you have some again facts and figure to measure and to be equal with your people. Another tips is the same tip that before, but coach a lot managers, talk a lot with them, and also as HR give feedback. If a manager is telling you, oh, that person is always in office working overtime, she's so good, then you can answer, yes, but why? And you can give feedback.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Another good question from Marie. Do you find that not all employees participate and therefore you do not get a rounded view when gaining info and feedback? If so, how do you manage this? Fabio, perhaps if I could just come to you on that. Is there any functionality in the Talentia product to try and cater for that? You're on mute at the moment.
Yeah, in this sense, as I was saying before, in order to keep people engaged and also to find the reason why someone is not participating, there are different ways the technology can favor it. One tool is for sure analytics, because also when it comes to continuous feedback, we have, for example, dashboard to analyze the contributors. So who is doing what, who is giving feedback, who is receiving feedback on the other end. So analytics is, I would say, a first point for leaders to identify that there's a risk, that there is a bottleneck or something to look at and take as a consequence a follow-up action. So I would say analytic in first instance, and also the answer was also behind the lines of the survey, the continuous feedback. So having people really participating not only for the good but also for the bad. So for rising points that can be improved, gray areas in organization and processes. So that line manager can take correct actions. Also the climate, typical stress survey that can be given by leaders to the team continuously once a week, once a month, can contribute to get what the climate is and eventually to understand why people are not sponsor of some processes and why they are not.
Okay, thank you. It's a very practical question from Dennis. Does the system enable you to know from where all the workforce are working on any day? If, for example, there was a fire at the office, how would it be possible to know quickly who may still be in the building? Is there, Fabio, is that part of the product as well?
Yeah, as Claudia was saying before, the platform is pretty flexible in this sense and open to accommodate different scenarios. So in this case, it would be possible, of course, to classify from date to date where people are working, what their employment status is. And then through analytics to have maps, geographical maps, to see who is distributed from where. This is something that the tool can accommodate quite easily.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Claudia, anything to add on any of those questions that I've just put to Fabio?
Pardon?
I just wondered if you had anything to add on those questions, particularly the question around encouraging people to participate.
Yeah, not really. On the last one is really technical, so I think that Fabio already answered. To the one that is how to encouraging people to participate, we do a lot of reminders. We do a lot of reminders so that people sometimes participate because they do not want to receive our email more at our call, and they participate. So.
Okay, that's good. Ashley's got a question. Claudia mentioned the demand for soft skills learning among employees. Are there any examples of what has been popular, and does this vary depending on seniority or age, perhaps?
Okay, now we do not have a lot of difference between seniority and age. Of course, the more people is senior, so manager, senior manager, the less they have time to learn. So I think that employees are the ones that are using more our platform, and on the particularly their preferences, we have a business English training that is that really rock, because everyone, we are an Italian company in this moment, and we do not interact a lot with other nation, but people really love to understand and speak English. And in addition, also negotiation was another competency that was really preferred by people for training, and also leadership. And the fourth one is quite an alarm for us. So we are working on this with some well-being initiative, because we have also a training on how to manage burnout. And it was, I'll follow it a lot, but our people, but it was useful because it was an alarm for us. So we are now working on stress on those guidelines, just not to do people like overtime, and also to some well-being initiatives that we will implement in the next months.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Do send in any more questions if you have any. I'm just going to start our third poll, which is it's just a poll for you to provide some feedback. So you should see that any moment now. There we are. So it's basically asking for your feedback on the webinar on a scale of 1 to 5. Please do share your thoughts. And I'm just going to see if there are any more questions. I don't think there are at the moment. Just Fabio, one more question for you from me, really. I'm just thinking in terms of scale. The Talentia product is the sort of size of company that you have in mind in terms of suitability?
Yeah, we target small, medium enterprises, which is I would say, a magic word, because the size would really differ country by country. The meaning of a small, medium enterprise really differs. But as an average, we target companies from 250 employees to 2,500 employees.
Okay.
But of course, we have tails. In Italy, we have the National Railway Company, which is 80,000 employees. So we have tails on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side. But as an average, we would target between 200,500 and 2,500.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, I think we've had a really good session. It's been really great to hear from you, Claudia. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you to you and everybody attending.
And thank you, Fabio,
Thank you.
for going through the product. It's been really interesting. And apologies if you were a bit concerned earlier when I forgot to unmute myself. Do look out for some more webinars in the pipeline from Personnel Today. Our next event is in 2 weeks' time, and it's looking at workplace culture and talent retention. You've been watching a Personnel Today webinar in association with Talentia. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.